Hello and welcome to a midweek edition of Warder's Waffle. You can see we've got a digger behind me. We're extending the pond, so we're going to show a little bit of footage of that. I'm just at the house. Rhonda and I have actually moved into the house now, so we're going to try and extend the pond along the front to give it a bit more view. You'll see that in a few minutes. Also more footage of flooding from other farms in the area not far away, so that will be good to see, but some serious neglect of duty from the Environment Agency. Anyway, I'm just rushing to catch a train going up to Northumberland to Hexham to talk at the Northern Farming Conference on Wednesday. So we'll see some of you there maybe. And then we've got our NFU County AGM Wednesday evening. Anyway, that's it for me. I'm going to rush and catch the train, otherwise I'll miss it. Hope you enjoy this update, and we'll see you at the end. I've come into another area not far from me at Stapleford. I've got Ben Ray here who farms this area, and this is on the edge of the Witham here, and this is an area where the badgers have been moved by the Environment Agency. Just explain, Ben, if you will, please, the process, because it's quite unreal.
There's a set here, and it was undermining the bank a bit. You know, they're digging in the bank and making a mess. And to be fair to the EA, they realised it was a problem and thought they'd better do something about it. But the messing about to get to the end stage is quite hilarious, to be honest. But they basically made an artificial earth a couple of 100 yards down, which we'll look at in a bit. Then they tried to encourage the badgers to go into there. They had to wait ages. The badgers wouldn't leave.
How did they stop them going into the set?
They put non-returnable gates sort of on this at the end of the set, so the badgers could leave but not go back in. But I'm fairly sure they told us they're waiting 6 weeks for the badgers to leave. So that poor badger, I don't know how long they can live underground, obviously more than 6 weeks. But it was underground for 6 weeks with no food, no water, and they just had to wait for it to leave with stealth cameras to picture them leaving. And an ecologist would come down all the time, checking and checking. So the badgers then left. You'd think they'd have gone to the artificial set, but no, they started on another set further down. Which they then had to do the same as what they've done here.
So they dug one themselves?
Yeah, they didn't want the artificial set, so they started building another set further down in the bank again. So anyway, eventually, long story short, this went on for about 3 years.
3 years?
They did get the badgers moved into the artificial set, which then this week has flooded. And then once badgers leave, they dig it all up, they put a wire mesh down underneath the bank and then reinstate the bank. So, you know, it just proves that the EA, when they want to do things, they're determined and they can do it. They've obviously got the resources.
They've got the financial resources.
I've no idea what it costs to move a badger set. Someone will be able to tell us, but it's not.
I mean, I've heard 100,000, 150,000. It's just a lot of money that could be put into maintaining the waterways.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that badgers shouldn't be preserved. You know, we've got to do what we've got to do, and fair enough to the EA for doing it. But you know, it just seems absolutely crazy. And then when they do build a set, it floods anyway.
It floods anyway, yeah.
You just think, come on, how much wildlife's been harmed by all this flooding all over the stretch of every river in Lincolnshire when they're spending the money on things like that?
On things like this, I know. Well, just look at this, because you can just see where it's been reseeded in this area before we go and look at the set. You can just see this is new grass here. So how long has this been in?
I think they've finished about 3 months ago. So,
right.
But yeah, it's been 3 years on and off. They've been coming and
3 years. So down the bank here, you can't see. So the sets are up here, were they, in the bank down here?
Yeah, they were. And on top, there's holes everywhere.
Oh, right.
It was undermining the bank. So, you know, the EA had to do something, otherwise it would have breached.
But, and then so underneath here, so deep, there's wire to stop them burying.
Sure exactly how
no, but there's wire all here, right?
So they've done a good job, to be fair, saving this bank. But just look again at how overgrown and how narrow the river is.
We'll look at that in a second. I mean, it's just unreal when you look at that. We'll look at that in a bit of detail. It's just unbelievable, the neglect of the river, but what they're prepared to spend the resources on saving badgers. One of the big problems we have here is this behind me. It's a bush, it's a tree, call it what you like, but it should not be in a river. And this is the problem, that we cannot get the Environment Agency and the government really to understand that impedes water flow. Mass amount of debris in here, an obstruction to the waterway that's reducing the capacity of this river, because don't forget, rivers are not only for water flow, they're for holding water as well, and this is not doing what it was designed to do when it was built hundreds of years ago. So you can see up there, look, massive amount of bushes in the waterway, debris there. Look at this lot, just stopping the water flowing, reducing the effectiveness and the carrying capacity, holding capacity of this river. This is just horrendous down here. I thought the area at Short Ferry, Fiskerton, where my godson Henry is, was bad enough with the river. But look at this. Trees growing out the bottom. But look on that corner there. Look at that narrow belt of water there compared to the width of the river that's now all taken up with bushes. Just unreal. Ben, we've just seen where they've moved the badger set, or what they've been doing at the start. This is the badger set that they've actually created for them, and we'll just flick the camera around here. But in the whole length of time, you say they've been how long from start to finish?
Well, about 3 years, yeah, on and off. They'll come for a bit, and then they'll mess about, and then they'll disappear again and leave a bit of a mess, and then come back. I mean, I suppose they've got to do all this stuff, look after the wildlife, fair enough, but when they build them you'll see in a minute, where they've built this, the water's come up and the poor badgers had to dig out of his artificial earth, so there's not been a lot of thought.
So 3 years doing this, and they then have to have ecologists to them, advising them and telling them what they can and can't do.
Yeah, when the guys get here with the diggers, I don't think they're allowed to move a muscle without an ecologist. So I think they have a lot of time sat about twiddling their thumbs.
And of course the ecologists all need paying, but as I say, we'll just flick the camera around and just have a look at this set. Here you might think it doesn't look much here, apart from a bit of soil, but just explain, Ben, if you would, what we've got.
So here we've got 3 pipes where they've made the artificial earth in the bank.
So that you can see a pipe there, another one there, and then another one just there. So
and the water level has come up here, you can see by the wash mark, so above all 3 pipes.
Yeah.
And the poor old badger's had to dig himself
out there, otherwise they'd drown. So this has all been created artificially by the Environment Agency.
So they dug the bank out, put wire behind it so that the badgers can't undermine the bank. But it just shows they've got the money. They can do this sort of stuff when they want to. How well it's done, I'm not sure, because like you see, they've flooded.
Well, when you see that, But when we look here, this water, this is a grass field, one of the fields you cut for hay.
Yeah.
And it's just.
I mean, I'm not too upset about this being flooded because it is just a grass field, but as you'll see in the video, we've got hundreds of acres of arable land flooded.
Underwater.
Absolutely soul destroyed.
Yeah.
This just shows...
what this is what they do, and I mean, we'll just go in here. Is there much cattle around here?
Well, we've got cattle.
You've still got cattle.
We don't keep them down here.
Now you can just see in there the timber. That's how it's been constructed. Nala, come out, Nala, good girl.
What annoys me is that the EA can clearly spend all that money when they want to, and then just look down that river at how narrow it is.
Yes,
and
down there.
How badly maintained this stretch of river is.
I mean, it's just, if the Dutch came here, who are masters at water and management, they'd be horrified. Little channel on the right, huge area there. So when was the last time they did anything to this river?
Well, I've no idea. We've had this farm for 6 years.
Yeah.
And they've never done anything. They come and cut the grass 2 or 3 times a year.
Yeah.
So that's a bit irrelevant.
In
all fairness, the EA, there was a willow similar to these opposite an IDB sluice gate, and the village flooded some houses in 2019. And after a lady in the village gave the IDB a lot of grief, they did eventually come and take out one of these willows that was blocking that sluice. But you know, it's just too little, and
exactly.
They're just not interested in any of this, and they'll come and say that we need to be slowing the water,
slowing the flow,
looking after the wildlife. But you know, the damage to the wildlife around here is absolutely.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, you were just saying as well, down there behind Rhonda and Nick, there's some worms.
Yeah, that field is just, you walk and it's just a massive dead worms. We'll maybe get a picture later.
Yeah, we'll do that. Yeah.
You know, we ought to be working with the Environment Agency. If they can't afford to get rid of the sludge, why can't us farmers tip it in our trailers? We'll put it on field corners and spread it on the land.
Yeah,
or
exactly.
Work with people rather than just coming and preaching that they know best.
So I'm just looking with Ben at these worms. You just see the dead worms. They're the light coloured ones there. That's a worm. A lot more there. All drowned. So we're asked to do our bit for the environment, help the soil, increase organic matter. Yeah, everything that we all do to try and help that is all undone by lack of Environment Agency maintenance. Look at that, in the water, drowned. Another one there. It's just heartbreaking, Ben. You can see another one through there. You can see an excavator working in the background. Barry's come back to start doing some dikes out. We've got this main dike to do out here, which we're going to look at because there's an awful lot of water in this dike from the rain last week, but I'll just turn this camera around and show you. We haven't trimmed the dike banks yet. It's very early for us to do that, and we can't get on now because of the wet, and we don't want to trash these margins. So Barry's doing it without having to cut. We haven't cut it, but a lot of the water in there. Obviously, this beck, as it's known, goes right through there. We've got to get a flail head on the end of the excavator to cut all those branches and trees right back. It hasn't been done for about 25 years, and this is what you've got to do with maintenance. If you've seen in this video and other ones regarding the water and my chastising Environment Agency, don't do anything like this. You have to keep cleaning your waterways out and get the water moving, get it away and get the water table down. You can see that wheat's all right on the field, but the headlands or the edge of the field's not good at all. Some of it will still come, but we don't want a lot more rain on some of these. So those of you who watch these videos regularly remember seeing Barry come to us last year. There's just full plenty of water in this dike, but he's managing well. Just letting some of the water drain out. That's it. And we're putting it on the edge of the field. It's a shame because it's the only decent bit of wheat on the edge here. But we're putting it on the edge of the field so that then after harvest next year we'll come and spread this out and spread it out over the field. But to be honest, if there isn't much wheat comes on this headland here, we might spread this out over the winter. You can see the corner of this field, the wheat doesn't look very well. It was flooded right over the water. You can see by all the debris that's washed up here, all the bean stalks and stubbles. That's what this is. But Barry's got this bit of dike cleaned out, which is great. All the way along there, put it off the margin. We're not allowed to put stuff on the grass margin here and flower margin, so that will stay there now till after harvest. It carries a lot of water from Leadenham village right up in the distance. You can see the village there in the hillside. This carries water from there and off the A17 as well. But done a good job here through this pipe. This pipe we put in, I don't know, probably nearly 2 years ago now. I think it was just when I started to do some YouTube videos, so I'll just put here, this is the update if you want to see this pipe going in when we did that. But that pipe's 1.5 meters diameter. You can just see by the wash above it, that was fully submerged in water last week, completely underwater. That's how much was coming down this beck. There's flowing a treat now. Now this part of the this beck is done out by the IDB, the Internal Drainage Board, and it's the Upper Witham Drainage Board here. So they go all the way from those trees in the distance. We meander around here and finish here, and then it's our responsibility from there further up. And this was done out. They came here about 2 weeks ago and did this. I'm just starting this pond now, extending the pond in front of the house, and then we're going to put a fence up down the edge of this turf here. This rope roughly is the line we're going to take, I think, but there's a few land drains in here because this field was properly drained years ago, so we will find a few drains and they'll need capping off, otherwise the pond will leak. The yellow lab Poppy is daughter Sam's dog, been away for a few days. Fair bit of good topsoil here, very wet as you can see there, but we'll put that on a beat pad, concrete beat pad, and tip it back out in a low corner after next harvest. Barrier just breaking through, or not breaking through the pond. We're going to keep that down. We're going to keep a barrier here next to the water, because if we break that through, the water will drop because it's a bit low at the minute, and then the fish, there's a lot of fish in here, the fish won't survive. You can just see there how good the soil is. There's a bit of clay, you can see there, that's clay from when the pond, we lined it with clay to seal the water. That's why that's shiny. So we're going to have to do the same with the bank when we do it. There's the red line That's where we're going to, at the minute, take it to until we change our mind. You can see there, that's the edge of it as well, around there. I'm just on the edge of Lincoln. Short Ferry is just that way. Got Fiskerton Village that way. Short Ferry is where my godson Henry has been flooded out badly. You saw in my videos the last week or so. I'm just going to show you one or two things here that Henry's shown me, which is just unbelievable what the Environment Agency have done here, and they have caused a huge amount of flooding. So you can see the vast area of water there is here. All this land underwater. Thousands of acres through there. There's a wood you can see there. And we're always told we need to protect the environment, plant more trees. Trees soak up water. We need to look after wildlife, birds. Pity the Environment Agency don't follow government advice. Look at the water through there. So just behind me, Environment Agency controlled area. There is 2 pipes 3 feet in diameter, goes under here, under this road, and the other side here. 2 of them together, and there's a wheel there that shuts them off. So I'll just show you what they've done. So here's one pipe underneath here, and this wheel was all locked up, and this controls a valve, a sluice, a valve that stops the pipe, water getting into the pipe. That was fully open, and another one there that was fully open as well. And apparently the EA were alerted to this the other day, and they said, oh well, we tried to move these in 2019, but it takes a lot of effort to move them, you know, and stop the pipes off, so I don't think we can do it. Anyway, villagers took it into their own hands, I understand, and came to shut it off, because over here, I'll just climb the gate. So through here is where the water, where the pipes come out. They are now shut off, but the whole of this was full to within just, I can see it here, I don't think the camera's picking it up. It will be probably 3 metres deep, 4 metres deep through here, and all the water's run through here, right down towards the Delf, which is a little tributary waterway, and it runs around the back of Fiskerton Village, and the Delf actually has to be pumped into the Witham. The River Witham is just near, runs near those trees. We'll have a look at that in a minute, because there's so much water going through the Witham, the bank's starting to collapse, and some of the villages had to be evacuated, which we'll go and have a look at that in a second. I'm now just at the back of Fiskerton Village, and you can just see this water down the bottom here. I'm just going to show you where the bank of the River Witham has cracked and it's starting to slip. And don't forget the other side of that, it's full of water. So this is the edge of the village. The water here is what has been caused from those big pipes that you've just seen. You can see where the water was, and the pipes have now shut off, so the water's not coming through here. Just underneath those bushes, the black line that goes left to right, just above that water, that is where the bank of the River Witham has cracked and is slipping down. And you can just see those light coloured in the middle. They've put some levels with some woods. They've knocked some woods in to see whether it's stationary or whether the bank's still moving. Then there's another slip. Just, if I can find it, there we go. You can just see again, I can't zoom in a bit closer, but you can just see another dark line in that green bank, and that slipped as well. So there's 2 massive slips there, and that's why they're afraid of the River Witham going. And everybody in these houses here have all been evacuated into the village hall, because if that river goes, the water will just flow right up to here. Just pulled off the main road and just following a friend of mine down to his buildings. This is Dean Sempers, sells farm machinery, DAS, the company's called, and he's had 3 feet of water in these sheds, so we'll just have a look. This lorry was in that shed there, and you can just see the tide mark. The water was up to there, 2.5, 3 feet deep. Just got it pumped out and cleaned out, but if I hadn't shut those 2 big pipes off, this would still be all underwater. You can see now the ground drops away. You maybe can't quite see here. Yeah, it doesn't really show it, but it drops away heavily here, so it's really deep through here. I swept all this out from the shed. But this is the shed. Here we are. I can see how much water was here now. There we go. So you've got one chair, 2 feet 6 inches deep. So 3/4 of a metre deep in here. Managed to get it pumped out and swept out. Here's straw and hay for Dean's wife's horses. All this machinery underwater. You can see by the sugar beet drill here, or yeah, that's what that is. All the debris around it. Dean was just saying those gas cylinders there were floating in the water. Just come in one of Dean's sheds, and these toys all got submerged in water, and his mum's washed them all. Look at these, fantastic. Look at those. Brilliant. So that's the end of this midweek update. You can see I'm at the conference here now. I'll have some clips from this and talk to 1 or 2 people here, and it'll be in Sunday's update. Anyway, thanks very much for watching, and yeah, you can see we've still a lot of floods around Lincolnshire, and it's not getting a lot easier, but thanks for watching, and we'll see you on Sunday.